Hello, everyone. Today I'm with Ray Harari. Thank you so much, Ray, for your time. You've built a great reputation around spotting opportunities in unconventional spaces and scaling bold ideas globally. And I'd love to get your thoughts on a few areas where disruption and potential intersect, starting with Argentina. Argentina is facing major economic shifts. How do you see it do you see it as a frontier for high growth investments? And if so, in which sectors?
Thank you so much, Liz. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be here and talking to you and your audience. I'm a big fan of PACTA and always happy to contribute and to be here for exciting conversations. To your point, I believe Argentina is on the verge of massive growth. There's tremendous liberalization happening now with President Javier Milei, who's been showing some exciting results in just over a year of his presidency. He's massively reduced inflation month over month from about 25% to around 2%, which makes it a much more palatable market to come in when your currency is not getting diluted that quickly. Furthermore, he's enabling the provincial governments to take much more leadership on what's happening in their backyard to make them try to be the most appealing provinces for international investors to come in and make it more attractive for external capital. Other than that, they recently secured an IMF loan for $12 billion, which is going to help them solidify the economy. As I'm sure Argentina for many years has had what they call in Spanish a cepo, which is restrictions on their currency. It's very difficult to get money out of the country. There's multiple exchange rates depending on whether you deal with the government, with the stock exchange, with certain industries. So it was very difficult to always tell how many pesos you would get for a dollar. But as Milei starts easing these restrictions, it's going to be much more easier to really do that and deal with currencies and all of that. And I think there's two main sectors that stand out in this liberalization of Argentina, and they would be mining and energy. These are two very capital intensive sectors, and sectors that can generate materials that can be extracted. In energy, oil, gas, unconventional such as shale, liquid natural gas, LNG. There's a lot of this sort of subsectors that are growing and developing in Argentina, which could become a net exporter. And then you have the mining sector, obviously gold, silver, copper, lithium, and rare earths are also very prevalent in Argentina. I would like to highlight the opportunity for copper in that Chile is the largest copper producer in the world, and they share over 5,300 kilometers of border with Argentina, right where the Andes Cordillera is, and that's where a lot of these minerals are found. So Argentina stands out as a virgin territory that has not been explored as much, but has similar traits in the geology. So I think there's a big opportunity for Argentina to make a big catch up, to use all of this new exploration and extraction technologies in mining to be much more efficient than Chile has been over the last century, and really capitalize on this juncture where an Argentina cycle is combining with a copper cycle.
Wow, very exciting times for Argentina. And speaking on mining, we know that you're active in early stage mining ventures. What role do you see family offices play in these exploration stage projects?
Sure. So Argentina is at a very interesting stage where you have, about a dozen projects that are very advanced, getting permitted, close to construction, which are all the hype because everyone is talking about the multi-billion-dollar projects that they're going to build, how many jobs that is going to generate, and all of the money that's coming from abroad to support this projects. However, no one talks about all of the early stage projects, which are about a decade out from being in that position. So, you need to refill that pipeline for those projects to be, transformed into the larger projects that are ultimately at feasibility stage, at construction stage, and that are investable. And because of the lack of stability Argentina has had over the last few decades, you have projects on both edges. So you don't really have projects that are being advanced. I think this is a great opportunity for family offices and investors that are comfortable with early stage risks to get involved in properties that are highly prospective, that have, not that much exploration done, but could, really eventually become a very, very large project. And, there's a lot of prospect generators in Argentina. They don't really know how capital markets work. They're not familiar with the industry because Argentina has been closed from international markets for such a long time. So it's an opportunity for investors to come from abroad to talk to these prospectors and to help them sort of bridge the gap from an early stage exploration company with little to no data into really advanced, geologically proven with a resource company that is also feasible to be constructed. What I've done to address this space is create a company called Argentina Metals together with my partners, Amontes Holding out of Germany. They're a fund that's focused on investing in junior exploration companies. We've teamed up essentially to build this platform that already has some cash available to do due diligence, to explore and to acquire and really build a pipeline of solid projects we can put into our vehicle and eventually raise further capital, de-risk it from all of those early, difficult parts of exploration, having a strong team around it, having people that understand the culture, the region, the sector, and hopefully we can find really these hidden gems, advance them through the development curve, and hopefully make them be the next Filo del Sol, the next Lunahuasi, the next Los Azules, and all of these projects that we now know that were 10 or 20 years ago a hidden gem, as many of the projects I mentioned are at this moment.
And talking about these hidden gems with hundreds of investments under your belt, what key traits are you looking for in a founder or a team before you get involved?
Well, to me, first and foremost, integrity and values is what's most important. I always say that projects evolve, projects change, but you're really stuck with the people you start with. And being with good people to me is essential because ultimately that's what the business relies on. I think another important thing to do is you need to pick a jurisdiction, and in this case, a province that is friendly to mining, that it has prospects. I would highlight here Mendoza, which has been doing an amazing job after being close to mining for a very long time. They built this governmental agency called Impulsa Mendoza that is really holding early stage exploration companies by the hand and advancing them and helping them navigate, the local regulations, dealing with the communities, accessing capital, and talking to investors. And that's the type of places you need to be, where the jurisdiction is helping you, where people locally want you to be there, where communities value the work you're doing, because that way your risk of building a project is significantly reduced. I also say, I want to find a project that has prospectivity, ideally some historical drilling or some results, at the very least some geochemistry or geophysics that will give you an initial indication that there may be something here. Obviously there's still it's still fraught with risk, and you don't know if that will become a resource or a project, but that gives you initial indication that the project has something that will work. In addition to that, I think having track record is important. Usually people that find projects are more likely to find them again. So if you stick to people that have found projects before, they can really enhance your chances of being successful and certainly facilitate the capital raising when they share their expertise in building these projects, in advancing them, and in all of those. And finally, I want to find projects that have alignment. I want the owners of the project to join us in the journey, to have skin in the game, and to really sort of accompany us through the development phase, rather than just finding someone that's trying to sell their project and that believes most of the value has been realized. I think this last part is really important because, when markets get frothy and prices go up, this almost becomes like a real estate game where people just want to hold as much land as they can and just flip it and flip it and flip it without doing any work. I'm not really trying to do that. I'm trying to build a real company that's exploring and hopefully makes a discovery in Argentina which is, in my opinion, of the better jurisdictions to be in at the time. And that is only possible with, a small village of people that are all pushing in the same direction and really, working hard. And, you need obviously a lot of luck, but, the work is necessary. And having this alignment, you ensure that everyone is rowing in the same direction and that you maximize your chances of success.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Ray. Really appreciate your time and sharing these incredible insights with our audience. We'll include you below all your information as well for those that want to reach out and connect with Ray. But thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Liz.